Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and for this episode you'll be listening to an interview I did a few weeks ago with vocalist Lucy-Anne Daniels. Now, we did it in St Pancras Station, so there is some ambient sound, but it was lovely to be able to speak to her in person. She's a fabulous singer, and I hope you enjoy listening to our conversation. Welcome to Harmonious World, Lucy-Anne Daniels.
Hello.
Hi, it's really nice to be chatting with you. We've had a little bit of an introductory chat, but I'll ask you lots of questions so you can tell my listeners the same things you told me. So I heard you sing at Ladbroke Hall in London with Xenia Strigoleff and Soweto Kinch, the amazing Soweto Kinch. So tell me a little bit about how that gig came about.
So Xenia and I had technically never met until 2 days before that gig. But he had seen me sing with Zosa Cole in Birmingham at Zosa's album launch. Maybe, I'm going to say 4 years ago.
Right.
I think it was like the summer of my first year in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And so he'd seen me there, liked what he heard, and then asked me many, many years later to do the opening night at Ladbroke.
Yeah.
Which was really fun.
Yeah. And you'd met Soweto Kinch before?
Yes.
Right.
Soweto, it's funny, I'd never been taught by Soweto or anything. But he was teaching, obviously, at uni. But then to be honest, I think I met Soweto through Zosa.
Okay.
Yeah. And then sort of hung out with him in various settings.
Yeah.
And then did music bits. And we're doing not a gig together, but we're both on the same bill for this lovely evening in Birmingham called Incubator Sessions.
Oh, that sounds brilliant.
And that'll be my first solo set, which will be very interesting.
Wow, when's that?
December 12th.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
So people can look out for that Incubator set.
They can.
In Birmingham.
Yes.
That's brilliant. Is that part of the conservatoire?
No, it's just Beeb. Have you heard of Beeb Music?
Yeah.
So it's like a little project extension from there.
Right. So did you go to Birmingham to the conservatoire because you knew about the thriving jazz scene that there was there?
No. No, not at all. So I, classic, you obviously audition everywhere. And God, we were talking about this with some people the other day, just the grueling audition process.
Oh, yeah.
And so I really, really wanted to go to Guildhall.
Okay.
I had my sights set on Guildhall. I was like, I love the area that it's in. It's in London. It would be just you've got the Barbican next to you. It would be great. And with Birmingham, it was kind of, it was on the list because I didn't want to study in Leeds because I didn't want to study at home.
Okay, yeah.
Which I guess is fair enough. So then Birmingham was kind of just in the mix because it was there. And the audition went quite well. I think it was probably one of the better ones. But I didn't necessarily pick it for the thriving music scene.
Okay.
But then I didn't get into any of the London ones.
Okay.
So then Birmingham was kind of the alternative arrangement, but I'm so glad.
Yeah. That's really interesting that you didn't get accepted into the London. No, it is interesting because you're an amazing singer. So what do you think happened? Did you just not have good auditions, or do you think you developed over the 4 years? I mean, you obviously have to.
Definitely a development thing. I think it was I would say I've always been quite a performer. And so I kind of had almost the drama about the music that was on its way, emerging. But then the technical stuff and the theoretical side of stuff was lacking.
Okay. Right.
And the London people are obviously quite
into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And in the same way that we're talking about Nigel needing to be able to read and stuff like that, my reading was not horrendous, but it wasn't tip top.
Right.
So I think that was the main.
Right.
That was the main thing.
Yeah. But it's obviously worked out well.
Yeah. I'm not complaining.
No.
I think Birmingham was it's been a very, very nice, nurturing environment, I'd say.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me about Nijo. How did you get into Nijo? So obviously you're living in Leeds and you're starting to sing. What got you into Nijo?
I think I was 16, and at school we'd had this, what's it called? We had an arts festival at school. It was biannual, and a bassist in the school, one of the teachers, ran that evening. And so that was like my first entry into jazz, basically.
Okay.
At around 15, doing a jazz night at school. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is quite fun. Like, are there opportunities to like do this elsewhere? And then God knows what I typed in, but obviously Nijo came up.
Okay.
And I remember seeing like 16 to like 23, 26, 24. I don't even know what the age bracket was, but a big range. And I remember seeing that it was like, oh yeah, you get paid gigs. I was like, me?
Yeah.
Paid for a gig? Ding dong, I'll do that. And then I remember thinking, okay, like I'll apply next year, because at the time I was 15. And I remember the deadline coming up and I'd almost forgotten about it. And so it was like an absolute scurry to get information and videos and write a little spiel. And then I wrote the spiel, I put all the information together, applied at like midnight on the day of the deadline.
Right.
And then was really shocked to get a call back saying, oh yeah, come in for an audition. I sang Midnight Sun.
Oh, lovely.
And Feeling Good.
Right.
And then they were like, yeah, you got it.
Fantastic. Because we were chatting before and I was explaining that in the old days when I was in Nijo, you just literally turned up and there was no audition process, there was no kind of application or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And you made it or you didn't.
Yeah, you know? If you survived.
Yeah, you sank or you swam. And so it's really interesting that you went through that process. But it's interesting as well, you talked about the drama. Yeah. Because you are such a performer. When you're on stage, you don't look like you're in your early 20s. You don't. You own that stage and you own the room and people listen to you. Where did that come from, do you think?
Do you know what? I'm going to say my mum.
Okay.
It's something I've only really realised in like the last few years, but my mum is such a drama queen. She's child number 5 of 8.
Oh, okay.
So her being like smack bang in the middle, I'm not surprised. She had to like fight for her voice in that family. I think that's sort of just been passed on down to me. And I'm the younger sibling. Okay. So naturally there's sort of that element of, you know, look at me.
Yeah.
And then in school I was very much into my theatre.
Right. Okay.
As well. Right. So then that all sort of translated itself into performing music.
Yeah. So you're obviously coming to the end of the Birmingham Conservatoire experience.
Oh yes.
But you're doing a lot of gigs. You're working. You're not just sitting and waiting for that to finish.
Yeah.
Do you have a plan, or do you just want to wait and see, or are there people kind of getting you gigs or looking out for you? How is that working?
I've been in a very privileged position in that I have started, I'd say, my career with the help of other people and people asking me to do gigs and asking me to be involved in their projects.
Yeah.
And so I will continue that.
And you talked about going to Paris next weekend for a gig. What's that?
That is at Duke de Lombard's with clarinetist Giacomo Smith. And so that's like a little two-day mini residency, I guess.
Okay, fantastic.
So it'll be quite grueling. It's 2 shows a night.
Yeah.
But that will be really lush. I'm very, very excited.
Yeah.
We're doing the Billie Holiday and Lester Young.
Oh, nice.
Music.
That's really good. Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's really good.
Very excited.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds brilliant. Are you planning to do that show in the UK?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Okay. So we'll have to watch this space.
Watch this space.
Okay. Do you have a website where people can find out about you?
She is being built as we speak, actually.
Excellent. Okay. So hopefully by the time this goes out, you'll have it, or I can add it on afterwards.
Yes, hopefully.
You're on social media, are you?
The Rumbling. I am, yes, with a very complicated Instagram handle.
Okay. What I will do is I'll put that into the show notes.
Okay.
Don't worry. Then people can just click on it in the show notes and then they can connect to you.
Okay.
That's fantastic. I think you're one to watch.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting.
I'm excited for myself.
Yeah, and you should be. You should be. I can't express enough to my listeners how much you just own that stage at the Ladbroke, and it's a beautiful venue, isn't it, Ladbroke?
Yeah.
Great venue. So you literally did own it, which I thought was amazing, and the way you interacted, particularly with Soweto, was really nice. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, so well done.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining me for my podcast.
Yes. With all the trials and tribulations.
Absolutely, but life as a musician is never easy,
No.
as we know.
No, all sorts of things.
Thank you once again for joining me for Harmonious World, and thank you to Lucy-Anne Daniels for putting up with the coffee machine in the background and the people chatting. And thanks to Joe English for my Harmonious World theme tune. One of the things that I'm really keen to do with Harmonious World is to support emerging talent, and Lucy-Anne is just finishing her time at Birmingham Conservatoire, while Joe is just starting his at Guildhall, and I'm happy to do anything I can to help them and other, especially young musicians, make it in this business. Have a great week, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hilary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.